Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry for this small technical slag because this is the complexity of the hybrid environment, which brings us to this current topic of how we can unleash the potential of business, IT automation and drive the business parameters. I am Chandrasekhar, and I head the IBM practice at Dhanya Enterprise. So for some of you who are not, acquainted with our brand logo, just a couple of lines. So we are specializing in whole lot of IT solutions and services, and we have strategic alliances with IBM and VMware. Our corporate office is based at Hyderabad, and we have our strong presence in Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, and Chennai. So this is our domestic presence, and we have our international footprints in Singapore, USA, UK, Ireland. So first of all, a heartfelt thank you for you all, for accepting this invitation and taking your time out. I can assure you that today's forum will leave you with the valuable insights and takeaways. So the two critical areas which concern every business is modernizing and transforming the business parameters, and two, optimizing your IT operations and boosting the productivity. So it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Manjunatha Devadiga, who is the tech sales leader from IBM, and who can share you from his expertise and knowledge, some of the takeaways which you are looking for from this forum. And this webinar is structured for about 1 hour. So we'll try to keep it, and first 40-45 minutes we'll keep it for the presentation, and then the last 10-15 minutes we will open up for the question and answers. And you can reach out to us on the chat, and Manjunath will be able to address for the benefit of everyone. So thank you once again, and let this be an interactive session. And yeah, over to you, Manjunath. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot, Chandru, and thanks Danyai for arranging this, and taking. Thank others also who are joining this call. Thanks everyone. Now, with the same agenda that we discussed, let me quickly bring up my presentation. Just give me a minute. Hope you are able to see the screen. Hope you're able to see the screen. Hello.
We are able to see the screen.
You're able to hear me loud?
Yes, we are able to hear you.
So once again, thanks everyone. So the agenda, as I said, it is data-powered automation, AI-powered automation. I'm Manjunatha Devadiga. I'm the tech sales lead for IBM Automation. I handle India and South Asia market for IBM. We work very closely with Danyai, and we have seen certain success recently also in addressing some of these solutions, taking it to the market, right? Now, the two topics today that we will delve into is how, driving business transformation, what is the relevance of modernization, how does it revolutionize your process in terms of business, and we'll also see how you can bring in operational efficiency and in your IT automation, which will help you to optimize and boost productivity. So these are two critical drivers that we see. A lot of people are getting into digitization, modernization. That's one key. While we are doing that, we also want to bring in the efficiency in IT automation. So we will address these two areas in certain solutions that we provide from IBM. And anybody who wants to take this journey, we will also understand what are the challenges that we come across in driving this, right? So if you look at the systems, IT has transformed from a legacy system to a modernized IT system, right? And any transformation to happen, we need innovation. So innovation is the key for transformation. So without innovation, there would be no transformation. And this transformation is a continuous process. Today, what we see as the latest IT technology may not be the same thing a year down the line. So that would have transformed to something else. Now, everybody wants to look at a transformation because that's an immediate business need. we all in business need to transform to meet certain needs of the business. But when we want to adapt the transformation, there are a lot of challenges that we come across. The first thing is, there are a lot of complexities when we get into these transformation. So these challenges are bringing in a lot of complexities, challenges in terms of cost, in terms of scalability, in terms of security. So transformation is not an easy thing to adapt. So it's just that there is something new or something which is very modern in terms of the business requirement. You cannot just adapt to that in the legacy model. So it has to go through a certain process to adapt those transformation, right? So many organization cannot get into the transformation mode quick enough and meet their business needs because of all these challenges, right? And the reason for that, one of the key challenges, complexity. So if you want to transform something to one thing to another, there are a lot of complexities involved. So we'll talk about all that, why it becomes an absolute need to transform something to the innovation technologies. While we do so, what are the challenges and complexities that are involved, and how do we overcome that, right? That's the key objective that we'll be talking. And we'll touch upon some of the very recent technology use cases which business is talking about today in terms of modernization and operational efficiency. Now, in today's context, if you see, in terms of innovation, there are three key pillars which are influencing that. One is hybrid cloud, which is a key influencer in any kind of modernization journey in any customer scenario. Artificial intelligence and data, which is a key concept for your innovation. Automation is another pillar which is very critical for innovation. So let's delve into each of this, spend some time around that, understand how it is being evolved. So it did not start with hybrid cloud, right? We initially when the public cloud came in, it created a lot of buzz in the industry, and then everybody wanted to adapt to public cloud. And the reason was many, that you had everything ready on the public cloud, you could consume as you need. It was all modern technology. It was very easy to adapt, very easy to run the services if you are gone completely on the public cloud. But that's not the scenario. You already have a lot of IT which is running on the private cloud. Now you cannot move everything from the private cloud to the public cloud, or you can't build everything new on the public cloud. So that's where the challenge came in, in terms of how do I use what I already have in my private cloud and consume some of the new services from the public cloud, and somewhere gradually I migrate my services and from private cloud to public cloud. Maybe in some cases I want to retain some of the services in my private cloud for data retention, data security, and data residency compliances, right? So that's where hybrid clouding came in. The hybrid cloud concept gives a lot of flexibility to the organizations in how they want to drive their business, bring in a lot of flexibility, bring in a lot of cost optimization. So today, investing on public cloud is also not cheap. It's also very costly. It's, you would rather look at some of the critical instances which can only go on the public cloud. So that's where hybrid cloud came into picture, which helps and gives you a lot of flexibility in architecture. It gives you a lot of flexibility in cost. It gives you a lot of flexibility in modernization, right? So the second piece, artificial intelligence and data. So let's dwell into that. Artificial intelligence is something that is a very common scenario today, right? One, as an artificial intelligence as a concept and innovation, which drives optimization, end user experience, IT operational efficiency, automation. So these are all very AI driven concepts. Now, while AI is driving all that, AI is also an infusion in some of the key technologies. Like AI is infused in IT automation tool. AI is infused in deployment tools. AI infused in security tools. So you look at any tool today, application observability tool, monitoring tools, security tools. Every tool has an AI infusion. That is artificial intelligence infusion in the tool. So that's where it gives you those capabilities and innovation within the tool. And coming on the data today is intelligence, right? You need to have those data across your systems, collect the data, and then make sense of that data and help you to take intelligent decisions on that data, right? So that becomes a very, very critical component of innovation. Now, coming back to automation, there are still a lot of process within the organization which are manual, right? So you have to drive your synergy towards automation, otherwise you cannot scale. So if you want to scale as an organization, you need to bring in automation. So today, if you look at any IT enterprise, they look at automating employee onboarding. HR systems are automated, right, through chatbot. All the interface, most of the services today are automated. For example, in IBM, if you see, we don't have any HR system whom you can call to. Everything is driven through chatbot. If I need anything on the IT services, it is driven through chatbot. So most of these are automated. Even you look at on the IT side, if you want to deploy something, it can be completely automated today, right? IT deployment is an automation, a transformation is an automation. So there are a lot of automation across the domain that are available today, right? So this is where there are key concepts. These are the three critical pillars which are part of your your innovation journey, right? So now with this, there is a lot of stress moving from manual process to automated process, and I also gave you certain reasons which will help you to do so, correct? Now let us talk about some statistics and numbers, and that will help you to understand the scenario which I'm talking about. So enterprises today, some of the leaders talk about 82% is what is a percentage you can look at, which is impending success because of the complexity. So that means if I have to look at innovation, and 82% people feel that the complexity is what is impending their success. So that is the bottleneck that they feel. Let's take a simple example. Let's see how this number justifies that. Let's take an example of you're a very traditional organization. You are running some legacy applications in your data center. Now you as an organization want to launch some new business services, right, which is on SaaS. Now to adapt to that, what you need is your legacy systems are running on is single instance server monolithic architecture. Now if you want to bring up new services and adapt to new services which are on cloud, they are already on microservices architecture, right? Now this has to transform or integrate with those services which are on microservice architecture. Or if you want to move this application to the microservice architecture from on premise to cloud, it is not simple, right? Because moving from a monolithic architecture to microservice architecture needs a lot of understanding, not a lot of work in dissecting those applications to creating those microservice architecture, right? How do you architect the hardware platform from a single instance server to microservice architecture, right? So these are very complicated approach, and that is what is impending success today, right? Because you cannot go ahead because these are very, very complex. So 85% enterprise leaders, this is the fact that we see, where they feel that I cannot go ahead because this is the bottleneck for me, that is complexity, and that is 82% is what they see in terms of going ahead. The second problem statement is that you started looking at your infrastructure, you have started spending your infrastructure on delivering a lot of business services, right? So you started doing that, and in a while afterwards you see that, okay, I'm spending too much, right? And this is my business, and these are my application services which are you consuming this infrastructure, but you don't have any insight or information about the spend. Okay, these are my top services which are running on AWS. How much I am spending on these? Is it relevant to spend on that? And 55% leaders lack information about the spend on IT, right? There are a lot of direct costs, there are a lot of indirect costs also. Unless you know which services are consuming what, it becomes very difficult to get any analysis about, are you doing it right? Is it right? Am I spending on the right resources, on the right business, on the right unit economics? So that becomes a very difficult understanding, right? So now Another thing that is very critical piece in the today's scenario is applications, right? So everything that we talk today is running through applications. Today you bring up your Android phone or an application or an iPhone, you would have not less than 35 to 40 applications, right? But if you go back 9 years, there was none on your system, right? Only few basic functions were available. But today everything is running through applications. So so
Please bear for the small technical slack.
okay, sure, I'll reconnect. Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you, Manju.
Yeah, you can hear me, right? Yeah, okay, sure. So there was a slight lag. So here today we were talking about applications, all right? Just to take a very simple example on how we run our user experience today on an iPhone or on Android devices, there are more than 35, 40 applications that we interact with. Now, that is in a very simple scenario, we as an end user that we are communicating with, think of it how uh, exponentially large it would be in terms of a business or an enterprise, right? For every end user experience today, right, as we speak, is on application. There is hardly any interaction, physical interaction, or a human to human interaction that we see, and that is getting eliminated to a large extent because of digitization, right? So this application expansion would be a huge thing in every enterprise, in every digitization and modernization journey, not only from a end user perspective, it also from a business perspective, a B2B or a B2C scenario, right? What is foreseen is around 1 billion application created by Gen AI by 2028. So here you're not even talking about people creating these applications. These applications are created by artificial intelligence automatically based on the scenario that you want to, right? So that is the power that we are talking about. So 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 this is the stage which I wanted to set. I talked about a couple of things here, right? If I want to summarize, uh, we started with what is the relevance of digitization and modernization, right? That's the first thing. And how we bring in IT operations optimization in IT automation. We talked about that. And if you want to get into modernization, why is it difficult? Because of complexity and the challenges that we are facing. We understood that, and we also took some examples about if someone wants to get into a modernization journey or a digitization journey, how difficult it is to adapt to those changes, right? Then we brought in three critical pillars in today's context, which are driving this innovation is hybrid cloud, artificial intelligence and data, and automation, right? So these are some of the thought process, and we also did run through a few of the problem statements and some of the industry standard facts and statistics to kind of align to that. Now, this being the thing, in IBM, what we have done is we have infused artificial intelligence as a spark for automation, right? That is part and parcel of every solution that we deliver. So that could be bringing in automation, that would be bringing in more intelligence, more remediation, which is once again automation led, right? So that is a spark that we are trying to create in every aspect of the tools and solution that we provide. Okay, so now in terms of our offering, And this relates to exactly to the problem statement that we made earlier. We talked about all that complexity, what is needed to automate. I'm trying to bring up certain products which will map to those problem statement, and how IBM will help us to resolve and address that problem statements, right? So things, solutions like resource management, network management, infrastructure management, FinOps, business management, giving a lot of insights, right? So these are some of the areas in where IBM will help us to look at how we can address some of the challenges that we spoke about. Now, let's take one by one and see what is the solution that will help us to look into those areas, right? So now let us try to take few problem statements and see how IBM will help us to address that specific problem statement. So now 82% of enterprise leaders say that it is complexity which is impeding success. So because there are a lot of manual process which are involved. When you want to innovate, there is complexity. When it becomes complex, you cannot bring in a lot of automation, right? So when you start doing manual tasks, when things are complicated, then it will slow down, right? So that becomes, a big hindrance to your innovation, right? So that's something that we need to address, wherein how we can reduce this complexity but still bring in automation, right? So those are some of the key areas. So to address that, just to take two examples, right, in this scenario, observability and AI ops, these are the two solutions from IBM which will help you to address that specific problem statement. Now let me pick up the first one, Instana, and then we'll get into Cloud Pak for AIOps, which will help you to bring in 30% improvement in issue resolution. Okay, so we'll see each of those in a little more depth. Now, in that, the first one is Instana. So what is Instana? Instana help you to look at application observability, right? So what is applications? You have as an enterprise, you would have many business critical applications. So when you say business critical application, these applications are standing there and delivering your key business KRAs, right? So now if this application goes down, it is understood that invariably your business cannot function. So these are business critical applications. Now now the foremost thing in this is, how do you ensure that your application is fine? So if there is a problem, how I can proactively look at those symptoms, right? Or if it gets into a problem, how fast can I find the root cause and get a resolution? So that's where application observability platforms are very critical in bringing in operational efficiency. And this ties up to the most critical asset, which is your applications, which is delivering your business, right? So it is not only an application performance management, it's an application observability platform. There is a difference here. So the difference between a performance management and an observability platform is that when you look at observability, it brings a wider perspective of your data collection, not only limited to your application deep dive metrics. It will go beyond your application to your network, your systems, your applications, your end user, your traceability, right? So storage, databases. So it will get into all the stages, an application services traces and delivering that specific service. And secondly, you need to look at some of the interdependencies of different components delivering that specific service. And today the situation is more complex, looking at cloud native applications. We are looking at CI/CD pipelines, DevOps, etc., which would be beyond an application performance management solution, which is inadequate to address those specific scenarios, right? So this specific solution is an agent based, which will help you to look at root cause. If there is a slow performance of an application, or if there is something wrong in application not responding, it will help you to find the root cause of the incident, automatically discover your configuration and workflows dependencies of your application. How is it connected? What is the hierarchy? If there is a problem, go till the code level. Okay, this code in Java is the root cause of the problem. That's where it, we are failing to deliver the service, right? And bring in optimized contextual insights of a specific issue in terms of an application response. And and it doesn't stop here, right? So it will also help you to look at some of the intelligent actions. Okay, if there is a problem, there's an AI, artificial intelligence, which will generate script for the user, so that look, for this problem, I have generated this script which can act as a remediation for the problem. So it's an intelligent action response for the problem that we state, right? So this will reduce drastically for you and reduce the complexity and also bring in more operational efficiency. Reduce the mean time to repair and reduce the mean time to detect, because it will exactly point you to the problem where it occurs, right? So the second piece is AI ops. So it's not only an application observability tool, right? In an enterprise, in an enterprise, if you look at, there is network monitoring tool, there is your database monitoring tool, there is application monitoring tool, there is storage monitoring tool. There are multiple assets and domains which are being monitored, and every tool will monitor those specific domains. And if there is an exception, an event is generated, right? So, and what will happen with this is AI ops. Watson AI ops is that all those exceptions from multiple tools are converged, and it will get consolidated into a single container, which is our Watson X AI ops. So your exceptions and alerts from your storage, network, application, databases, all will converge at your AI ops platform. So anything going wrong in your entire enterprise for delivering any service, right? Now it is, this exception is forwarded to the AI ops platform. Now with this, what will happen is, you'll understand, you'll correlate automatically, you bring in noise reduction, you give the relevant context to the problem, collaborate, and automatically bring in the root cause. Okay, I get this alarm from storage, this alarm from network, this alarm from server. This is what it means. This is the root cause. This is the action that you need to look at. So this, by this, what happens is, you don't look into a problem and then start investigating. Okay, now there is this problem. Is it because of network? Is it because of server? Is it because of storage? Right? So this tool will help you to correlate that information, get into the root cause analysis, and reducing the noise and incidents, and enabling you to respond much faster in terms of the problem statement, right? So this is where you look at multiple tools and then consolidating that information, bringing in visibility, automated operations in terms of continuously. And then from here, if you want to generate a ticket, you can raise an incident to the incident management system. Now, when we do all this, right, there is always a question, and every CTO or a CEO, has a lot of pressure in ensuring that they run the business in the most optimized way. They should control the cost of IT, right? They should ensure that they are optimizing the resources what they are currently using it for delivering the business. So that's where Turbonomic comes into picture. So Turbonomic is a solution from IBM, which will ensure that your applications are fed with resources only on the need basis. When it needs, it's feeding them those resources. When it doesn't need, it will release those resources and reducing the cost. So that is exactly the problem statement of Turbonomic, and it can also automate the remediation in terms of optimization. Okay, so if you see, it's a completely API driven discovery. It has APIs for your application, Kubernetes, storage, databases, hybrid cloud. So it understands most of the layout in terms of compatibility for getting the observability data. And once it gets the data, it maps your tiers. So your infra tiers, your application tiers, your web tier, your database tier. So these are the applications, these are the services, these are the tiers. Then you can see those yellow, red. That means this applications need to be fed. It needs so much more compute to run optimally. right? So those are some of the insights that will be provided by Turbonomic, and also it will give you recommendations how you can intelligently size this. Look, this VMware is running very low on CPU. That VMware is always high on 90%. You could move certain nodes from this cluster to that cluster. Either it could be cluster scaling, pod moves, container platform planning. So VMware, if you look at VMware also, VM right sizing, it will help you to look at horizontal or vertical scaling. So all those use cases which will help you to optimize your resources, right? Either on VMware or on cluster, which is Kubernetes, that is taken care by Turbonomics. It is not only providing you the insights, it will also help you to drive certain trustworthy actions, execute and integrate certain actions from the tool itself automatically as a remediation factor, right? So that's your Turbonomic piece. Now, um, uh, uh, IBM also has a lot of insights that it provides using SEV1, which is our network observability. So if you look at any business, right, while application is very important, which provides a lot of which is your business critical application running it. Finally, to deliver that application, you need the network infrastructure, correct? So SEV1 is something which will help you to understand how your application network observability is. If at all, if there is a problem, where is that problem, correct? So that is what SEV1 will bring in. So SEV1, the uniqueness of IBM SEV1 is it's not only a single technology. This is one tool which can address most of the technologies that's part of your enterprise today. It could either be MPLS, SD-WAN, Wi-Fi, campus networks, SDN networks, 4G, 5G, CSP, MSP networks. If you're going through the cloud provider, your last edge devices monitoring, them SNMP data, flow data, non-standard data infusion to provide you those insights. So there are a lot of machine learning analytics that can be incited to give you more visibility, to give you alerts and exceptions, anomalies in the network, service and capacity planning. So we look at uh, the most critical backbone of your business delivery, which is SEV1, which will help you to bring in an entire automated network observability and giving you a complete insight of look, in terms of troubleshooting, in terms of capacity planning and optimization, right? And then the other piece which we wanted to which we bought this up earlier was the business leaders doesn't have 55% of the business lead doesn't have any insight about where I'm spending my money, right? So let's see how we can address that problem. So that is addressed through IBM Solution Cloudability. So Cloudability provides you that insight in terms of where you are spending this cost. So that is the Aptio piece. So if I have to quickly run you through this, let's take an example to make it simple, right? So you are an organization. Now you are you are running your business services on AWS, Azure, and Google. Okay, and you are spending around $4 to $5 million per year, which is very minimum, because even some of the unicorns today in India are spending more than 15-20 million on cloud cost, because they're born on cloud and they're running most of the critical services on the public cloud itself. Now when you're running your services on multiple clouds, right, you have no way to get that data in an unified way. So that means, what is my overall spend on AWS, Azure, and Google, right? Can I do a comparative analysis of what is my spend on for this specific data service on Azure? If I'm consuming 2 TB of data, okay, and I'm paying X dollars in at AWS, what could be the cost of consuming the 2 TB services on Azure? Do you have that insight? No. Am I looking at assets which are tagged? Am I looking at my asset compliances? So every assets which are published on your public cloud, Many a times we have seen organizations, they don't even know, because there are thousands of virtual instances, clusters that they consume on public cloud. Most of the time they don't even know they exist. So that's where you need to tag every assets, so that once you tag as who will tell you to tag that assets? Cloudability. So it will tell you that, okay, look, these are your 1500 assets, and these are the 200 assets which are currently not tagged and out of compliance. Now you need to tag those assets. Now once you tag that asset, what will happen is you get the visibility of all the assets that are part of your consumption, right? So then it will help you to tag those to the business groups, so that you know what is the cloud spend for a specific business entity, what is the cloud spend for marketing, sales, so that you exactly know how much time am I spending for this department. How can I charge them back? Can I show them back? What is my direct cost and indirect cost for running these services on the cloud, right? So direct cost is what you're consuming directly from either an IaaS or a PaaS service. The indirect cost could be something like, to run this service you need resources, you have custom services charges. So those are all indirect costs which can also be bought into the system to understand your total cost ownership, right? So am I using the right sizing? Do I need to shut down some of the systems which are currently not used? And the most important factor is also, how can maximize my savings on my public cloud? That means, what are the pricing options available for my consumption across the cloud? So if I'm going with option A in Azure, option B in Google, and option C in AWS, which I should go with? What is the cost for this specific plan across the cloud, right? Whether it could be reserve plan, it could be savings plan, it could be spot plan, on demand plan, any of those. And also it will help you to give you insights about, should I go with reserve plan for my consumption, or should I go with savings plan? What works benefit better for me in terms of optimization, right? And then the forecasting in terms of, okay, what is my cloud consumption tomorrow? In your organization, someone asks you, okay, this year we spent around 5 million on cloud. What should be budget for next year? Who will help you? Cloudability will help you, because it has all the trending data for more than a year, which will give you the data points and the graph representation of, okay, what could be the possible requirement in terms of budgeting for the next year, right? So those are some of the very detailed insights that cloudability will provide us, and also help us to look at unit economics. So unit economics is something like, okay, now I'm providing 10 services using cloud. How much does this specific service cost me? So for example, you're running AWS, sorry, Amazon Prime, so not Amazon, I say Amazon shopping e-commerce on your public cloud. Okay, so in e-commerce, Amazon, there are, just to take an example, there are 10 services. For example, there is a service to book your product, search the product, delivery is one more service, and then return is one more service. Now you want to know what would cost me to run the return service. Okay, so what we will do is we will associate all the IT related to return service and understand my spend on return service. So that is called unit economics. To understand the cost of running a specific unit service is something that will cloudability will help us to understand. So from there, your generative AI in terms of application, which we talked about, how the application will scale and the reason behind that. And we have a solution called Concert, which will bring in visibility into your application with a 360-degree approach. So that's another solution that IBM provides you. So this is based on our complete watsonx platform, where we bring in different lenses of getting you the insights of your application, and help you in reducing the complexity in managing those applications: risk, compliance, cost, and security. These are four pillars that we address. We will ensure that, okay, this is the risk at which your application is running. Where are you standing in terms of the different compliance standards, what are the costs, what are the security vulnerabilities. So all that we do. How do we do that? We run the process called discover. We run the process called, once we do the discovery to understand the tools and application, then we get into a more in-depth analysis using our generative AI, revealing the connections, dependencies of all the applications. And then we get into the recommendations. And we also provide you an NLM for you to look at, okay, there is a problem, what should I do? You can ask the tool and it will come back with a response with the solutions, right? And then finally the last process called act, which will tell you to define certain actions based on the ticketing workflow. Hmm? So these are some of the components that we spoke about: Concert, Instana, Turbonomic, network observability, FinOps, which is our cloudability, and Concert, which provides you application 360-degree insight. We also have today, as we speak, we acquired a company called HashiCorp, which is your code-based infrastructure deployment. So which will bring in a lot of automation in managing your cloud infrastructure and automating that entire deployment of your cloud infrastructure. It's not only your virtualization, it could be your cluster environment also. So right from day 0, day 1, and day n till it retires, we can manage the infrastructure lifecycle, application lifecycle, security vault lifecycle, secrets lifecycle using HashiCorp, right? So apart from this, as a solution, of it is what I have covered on the application modernization. This is another piece where organization. Hello, hello, you lost me.
Yeah,
Hello.
we lost you. We can hear now.
Okay, okay, sure. Okay. Uh, okay. Thank you, Chandru. So now any organization who is looking at application modernization, it is business driven, right? They don't want to just modernize certain thing without the need. Uh, if you want to take me a small example today, if you're booking a cab in Uber, right? So let's see how that relates to application modernization. So that will be making us pretty easy to understand, right? So what do you do first? First, you open up your smartphone, right? Then what is that first thing that you touch? That you touch an application, which is Uber. Now, once you click Uber, you once you open the application, then you enter data. It automatically tells you your current location. Okay. Then after that, I'll come back to that point. Then you say, this is my destination address. Once you say that, okay, it will take that, and then it will tell you to select the type of vehicle. There are 3 types of vehicle. Tell me, these are the cost. You select, okay, I want a premium cab. We are 6 of us. Okay, I need a 6-seater, whatever. You select that cab, and it will automatically tell you to authenticate your payment mechanism, right? So you enter your PIN code, your OTP for 2-factor authentication. Once your payment is successful, it initiates a confirm assignment for your trip, and it communicates back to the cab, and then your confirmation for your pickup is confirmed with the estimated time. This is a regular process, but if you go back and understand what is the complexity is involved, the complexity involved here is every touch point is an application. Okay, from your mobile, there's an application, the first touch point. Then once you go to your mobile and open, it will auto populate your location. How does that happen? That is because there is a location service API which is providing the data to your API on your phone, right? So that location service API provides the data to your API. That means there is a communication between your app and to another app which is providing location service, right? Once you have that, then there is a OEM, Uber, who has the inventory of the application based on the geo for that location that you're looking at. Okay, now there are 10 vehicles in this location. So that data is coming from another application. After you select, then you are going to a payment gateway, which is from a payment gateway service provider. And it is not even bank. Okay. Then through the payment gateway service, then he has to connect to the bank to debit and credit your money. That goes to the banking application. It internally touches the core banking, then comes back with your authentication, two-factor. Okay, all done. Your money is debited, confirm, your ride is confirmed. So that's exactly what this does here in application modernization. So we do all that I talked about, right? In managing those APIs, the first one, onboarding those APIs, securing them, socializing them, monetizing them, bringing in a lot of artificial intelligence to create, test those APIs before you launch, right? Those cases based on event. Okay, you book the cab, after that 5 things what should happen. Event driven architecture, Kafka, right? Application integration, there are 5 7 systems which has to talk to each other. There are a lot of complexities. There is a lot of authentication mechanism which we have to bring in. That is your application integration, right? Then the messaging service, there are a lot of DevOps which are involved in the overall process of bringing this thing. If you want to migrate from monolithic architecture to microservice architecture, we have an entire tool set. Okay, so today you have a server, you have a legacy application. Now you want to move that application from this to hybrid cloud. Yes, IBM has a solution there which will help you to look at modernizing that. Okay, creating that microservices. And we also provide you a lot of runtimes which will enable you to modernize your tool set, right? So these are some of the key capabilities in terms of how IBM helps you, right, in addressing these specific challenges. And every organization today, as we speak, are adapting to bringing in modernization, digitization. But while they bring in, they want to reduce cost, they want to reduce complexity, they want to bring in operational efficiency, they want to look at application observability, they want to bring in network observability, database observability. So now you see how relevantly we are positioned in terms of bringing the relevance to any enterprise IT, either in IT automation, wherein bringing in your operational efficiency, or you look at an IT or an enterprise who is looking at a modernization journey, right? So IBM as a company, we have the entire portfolio of tools to address each of these areas which are very relevant to the challenges that we can address and the scenarios that are taken care in terms of bringing that modernization to your enterprise, right? So this is a quick summary which I wanted to end up. I was looking at my time. We overshoot because I wanted to cover this. I took additional 7 8 minutes. If there are any questions now, I will take it up. So
Yeah, thanks, Manjunath, for the product solutioning, sharing your insights. I think you summarized it in a nice travel toolkit. Starting from the modernization solutions to what I call, I think one more slide. I think that would have got summarized. I think the solutioning, how we call it VASC, visibility,
yeah,
uh, and then the savings, assurance, and compliance.
yeah,
All these IBM solutions, which Manjunath would have, had we had a few more minutes, yeah, we can do that. But then most of these solutions, which are the 4 main pillars in any enterprise, and which the IT, people they look at is, one is on the observability, then the savings, compliance, and assurance. And most of the solutions which Manjunath has covered take care in a combination or on a ratio basis, addressing all these parameters. So with this, since we are also ending, come to a closing end, so we'll leave the next 5 to 10 minutes. So I would request the delegates to give your queries in the Q&A. and then we'll be happy to take up your questions. And then if you have any specific interests which you want to highlight, you can please do it now. Yeah, and we will also get in touch with you, maybe in the next, coming calendar year. So to take the things forward. Yeah,
Yeah.
over to the people.